Before beginning the editorial, let us first understand what is the background story. There is one news channel, Malayalam news channel, Media One, and this news channel was refused to broadcast its contents by the government. When Malayalam news channel appealed in the Kerala High Court, the judgment of Kerala High Court was in favor of the government. And editorial says that this is wrong signal. Editorial says that the decision of Kerala High Court should have been in favor of Malayalam news channel. The decision of the Kerala High Court should have been in favor of the fundamental rights of freedom of speech. So wrong signal. It means the decision of the Kerala High Court sends wrong signal. High Court order accepting national security bogey. Bogey means something that causes fear among a lot of people. It is called bogey. To shut down channel is concerning. Concerning means worrying. So editorial says that the Kerala High Court has accepted the ground of the government that due to national security, Malayalam news channel Media One cannot be given permission to broadcast its contents. So it is concerning. It is worrying. The Kerala High Court judgment uphold. When you uphold something, it means you maintain that thing. Upholding the government's revoke. When you revoke something, it means you cancel something. Like I revoke any law, it means I have dismissed that law, I have cancelled that law. Revoking the broadcasting permission given to Malayalam news channel Media One is plainly wrong. So according to the editor, the decision of the Kerala High Court is plainly wrong, clearly wrong. So the decision of the High Court is that what happened that first Malayalam news channels broadcasting permission was refused by the government, and this decision was maintained by the Kerala High Court also. Editorial says that it is plainly wrong. The I&B Ministry, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, did not renew the channel's permission to uplink and downlink signals after the Union Home Ministry decline means to refuse security clearance. So first Malayalam news channel Media One was not given security clearance by the Union Home Ministry, and after that Information and Broadcasting Ministry also refused to renew the channel's permission to uplink and downlink signals. So finally you can say that the Malayalam news channel Media One was closed. The company and some employees challenged the action, and after that the company and its staff challenged this decision of the government in the High Court. The court seems to have endorsed. Endorse means to support something. The court seems to have endorsed the government's stand. So what do we see in the recent judgment? We see that the court has accepted what the government says, that it was a national security issue and therefore there was no need to observe the principles of natural justice. So in this instance, or in this, you can say that in this instance we see like court appears or court seems that the court has accepted that the government is right. The government gave national security reason to decline the permission of broadcasting. So the court seems to be agree with the government. The government claimed there were sufficient reasons, even though means however, they were not disclosed. Disclose means to bring publicly, to disclose means to open something, to reveal something, to expose something. So the government has said that there are sufficient reasons, there are enough reasons. However, the government didn't disclose, didn't reveal any reason. It is unfortunate, it is not good that the court chose to accept the submission of documents in a sealed cover. So, whatever the documents the government submitted in the High Court, they were submitted in a sealed cover and agree with the authorities, and the court is agree with the government that there were intelligence inputs, that there were some secret information, that there were some secret things that warranted. Warrant means when you warrant something, it means you say that it is appropriate. Warranted, the denial means to refuse of security clearance. So what happened in this incident is the government submitted its reasons in a sealed cover, and after observing this sealed cover bag, the court was agree that yes, the security, if the security clearance has not been given to the news channel, it has been done appropriately without the petitioners being shown the contents. But what was in the sealed cover, it was not shown to the petitioner, it was not shown to the media news channel. The court's decision goes against emerging jurisprudence. Emerging means that is coming out, that is growing jurisprudence, that any restrictions, the court's decision goes against the emerging jurisprudence, that any restriction means any limitation on fundamental rights must not only be reasonable. So our recent jurisprudence, what does it says? It says that there should be no restrictions on fundamental rights, and if there is a little bit of restrictions on fundamental rights, then it must be reasonable. There should be some valid reasons if you are restricting some fundamental rights as permitted in the constitutions. So in our constitution, fundamental rights have been given, and we, or you can say that the government cannot apply any type of restrictions on these fundamental rights. If the government does so, then there must be some reasonable reason. But also withstand the test of proportionality. Okay, withstand means to maintain, withstand the test of proportionality. First of all, the government cannot arbitrarily deny fundamental rights. If any restriction is applied, on the fundamental rights, then it must be in proportion. Like you cannot completely deny any fundamental right, that if you are restricting any fundamental right, then it must be in proportion. In this case, what happened in this case? Broadcasting involves the interconnected rights concerning means relating media freedom. So in this case, the fundamental rights, how can we talk about fundamental rights? Like media freedom, freedom to disseminate. Disseminate means to spread something, disseminate information, and the freedom to consume information. So in this case, we can say that there are a lot of issues like media freedom, like freedom to spread information, and freedom to utilize information. All these comes under the system of freedom of speech and expression. Like you have the right of freedom of speech and expression. You can express yourself, you can express yourself through media, you can spread information, you can consume information. So editorial says that all these matters comes under the framework of freedom of speech and expression. The court seems to have accepted. It seems that court has accepted. What does the court accepted? the restriction without examining its reasonableness in any way. So editorial says that here it appears that the court has accepted the government's point of view without observing the things in details. It has negate means to say no to something. It has negated not only the channel's right to broadcast but also its viewers' right to know. Editorial says that here two things, there are 2 points. The number one point is channel has been denied to broadcast. That is one thing. And another thing is that viewers has been denied the right to know. If we are being denied any information, then it is also our right that why this information is being restricted. It is astounding, means it is very shocking, it is very surprising that the court dismissed the precedent. Precedent means previous example set in a recent case that national security cannot be used. So editorial says that there was one more case recently, Pegasus case. So during this case, the government also said that due to national security, we cannot reveal all information. So the editorial says that it is very shocking that the court dismissed the precedent set in recent case that national security cannot be used as a pretext to avoid any judicial examination of restrictions, limitations. Imposed means when you implement something forcefully by the state. So during the Pegasus case, the court had stated clearly that the government cannot say that due to security reasons we cannot explain the restrictions. So in the Pegasus case, the court directed the government that if you are restricting the fundamental rights, then you must explain the reason. You cannot simply say due to national security reason we cannot tell the reasons. Raising the specter. Specter means something unpleasant may happen in the future. It is called specter. Raise means to give support to something, to give support to something. Raising the specter of national security didn't give a free pass to the government, the court had noted in the case involving allegations of the use of Pegasus. So recently there were some allegations. What were these allegations? There were some allegations that the government used Pegasus. Pegasus is a spyware. A spyware means a type of software that takes your information illegally, that steals information from your computer or from your mobile. So there was Pegasus case, and in the Pegasus case the government didn't give any reason. The government simply said that due to security reasons we cannot tell anything. So in that case the court directed the government that you cannot simply say that due to security reasons we are doing so against citizens. So the Pegasus was used against citizens. So these were the charges against the government, and during the hearing of that case, the court has said that the government simply cannot say that due to security reasons we are doing so and so, by claiming that it was in a case that involved the right to privacy and not germane. Germanes mean applicable to the Media One case. So during the recent Media One case hearing, the judge claimed that the Pegasus matter was relating to the right to privacy, and the Media One case is not related to the right to privacy. The judge seems to have error. Error means to make mistake. So editorial says that here the judge appears to have made mistake. The need for circumspection against the bogey. Circumspection means careful examination against the bogey. Bogey means something that causes fear among a lot of people without any valid reason. The need for circumspection against the bogey of national security being raised to deny. Deny means to refuse, or curtail. Curtail means to reduce something. To curtail fundamental rights is a general principle. So here editorial says that it is that the government is that the court, here editorial says that the court here the court is not examining the issue, and the court is also giving support to the government. So it is not correct and not confined to a particular right. Editorial says that we cannot, confine means to limit something. When we cannot limit fundamental rights to a particular rights. Editorial says that the national security reasons that is being given again and again. We cannot limit that reason to a particular right. Further, in addition to, it is plainly unacceptable. We cannot accept that the much derided form of sealed cover justice is being used. When you deride something, it means you make fun of something, you laugh at something, you consider something of less value and you make fun of that. So much derided form of sealed cover justice. So this sealed cover justice has been derided so many times. Ad means assistance to adjudication. Adjudication means to give judgment over an issue. To give judgment over an issue. It is called adjudication. So editorial says that it cannot be accepted that the judgment is being given on the basis of sealed cover. Even though, however, courts recognize that the scope for judicial review. However, editorial says that the court accept that the scope for judicial review in matters of national security is limited. Courts accept the thing that the matters that are related to national security, there is little scope to review these cases. Any claim that a particular action was based on that ground ought to be substantiated. Substantiate means to give the evidence in support of something. Editorial says that if there is any particular action that is being taken by the government and that action curtails the fundamental rights, then editorial says that it is the moral duty of the government to explain the reasons, to provide proofs that why the government has taken such and such action. Even if means okay, if it is reluctant, the government is not willing to reveal all details. So there may be a case where the government doesn't want to reveal all the necessary information, but still the government must give valid reasons that why such and such action has been taken. If this practice of using confidential means secret intelligence claims to revoke means to dismiss, to cancel the permission given to a channel to operate, a channel that is doing its operations and the channel is suddenly denied to operate on the basis of confidential matters, and if such practice is encouraged, if we support or courts support this type of practice, then the freedom of the media will be in great peril. Peril means to be in great danger. If such practices continue, then the freedom of the media will be in danger. We must not allow such type of practices. If we do something or the government do or the government revoke the permission given to any news channel, so the government must explain the reasons.